Alright, so this is an update on my Lightpoacher Wander build using Power Siphon. Going to run a Domain Timeless Conflict just to show off how the build is doing right now. Made a bunch of upgrades. Just hit level 99. I was level 95 like 4 or 5 hours ago. I've just been running Domain of Timeless Conflict. It runs them really quickly. You can see here got a fair amount of these to sell, a lot of incubators, probably picking up more incubators than I should. But yeah, I'll just show how it performs here. Again, we're using agnostic tech to stop from losing the spirit charges from Lightpoacher. So we stay at 18 charges the whole time, which gives us a massive damage bonus. So yeah. I'll just go ahead and get started. I probably won't talk too much as we're running through this, since it requires some attention. Just call it a few things. Speak some more after I finish up. One thing to note is that there's probably a better way to do it, but with these two here that have multiple phases, I usually just switch between the two of them if the Templar ends up in an invulnerability phase. Or do another loop. The nice thing is we have enough freeze that pretty often he doesn't get to enter his second phase. So. I'm not using point blank because I like doing full damage at the end of my range, but that is an option as well. Kill these faster and get right in their face. In terms of defenses, this has felt really good so far. You give a lot more life than I have with Dissolution of Flesh, but I really haven't felt the need. Honestly, my defenses are pretty overkill for this. Could probably swap out an R or 2 for haste as well to do this faster, but my setup's been pretty good for me so far. The only thing that deals really any damage to me at all here is if you get Grasping Vines, which, due to the number of rare enemies you're killing, happens pretty often. So you just gotta keep an eye on that, since that's constantly doing you a little bit of damage if you're standing still. Or yeah, of course, if I sit there and slide, take a little bit of damage from that too. Yeah, I got to 98 here, haven't died once to normal 5 ways. Sorry, it's like 11:30 at night right now, so brain's a little bit scattered. But I've done a few of the juice. You can see here the reason I'm taking damage is Grasping Vines. It's the only time the health drops at all. But I did 3 or 4 juice timeless conflicts with 2 or 3 of the unrelenting emblems. That's fine. I didn't really see a reason to keep doing it though, because if you do those, you don't get unrelenting emblems to drop. So you really just wait for a stasis prison. But yeah. And here I'm talking, so I'm a little bit distracted, not to this as efficiently as possible, but as far as a build showcase, I think this shows pretty well where the build's at. I recently just switched to a wand with much lower attack speed, but some extra damage and crit chance, because I switched to Sniper's Mark from Assassin's Mark. So normally attack speed would be higher than this. This is actually more damage, more DPS. But yeah, the base for the wand is Demon Sword, which is pretty low attack speed. So that could be improved. Yeah, this has been a pretty chill way to level. I think I'll just level this to 100 for challenges. Do that. Maybe go back to speed mapping some beasts or do some 100% delirium or something. I should really use that level up. Step. Got 3 jewels, average between 2 and 5 here. Another unrelenting emblem as well. Yeah, between 0 and 2 of those. Probably average about 1 or a little less than 1 per. I probably have too much on my loot filter right now. I switched off of the Uber Plus, which I was using for 100% delirium, to just Uber Strict, which is a little light for this. More incubators than are really necessary being picked up here. But I've just been doing this and relaxing over the course of the evening, so I haven't bothered too much. But yeah. So maybe I'll run through some of the upgrades real quick. Let's see. Drop off some of these incubators. Now I've sold probably about 8 timeless jewels. I'll probably drop this sometime this weekend down to 150C, 100C. So these will not all sell for 1 divine, but still make back a pretty decent amount on them. So in terms of the build, got much better rings with some fizz damage, some resist, some accuracy. That let me drop the accuracy wheel here on the tree. I ended up picking up this wheel to get endurance charge on kill instead of this, since it was 1 less point, and with some extra defenses. Picked up this wheel. This elemental mastery is extremely strong with high elemental penetration, and we've got something like 70 elemental penetration from Shroud of the Lightless. So if we're fighting an enemy with 50% elemental resists, there's a 25% chance they have -50, and then we penetrate them to -120 resists, which is pretty insane. Gets almost near Doriani's there. This wheel allowed me to really comfortably drop my life flask, and you don't want the life flask anyway, since it can make you take more damage if you heal above low life. Then you're taking extra damage. So just the recoup means that the damage over time or delayed damage from petrified blood is not a big deal. This cuts a lot of that out. And then this node, life recovery from regen, is not applied. This synergizes with Chaos Spirit since it doesn't apply it anyways, and this allows it to continue working with Chaos Spirit. And then we just recover chunks of life, so we're constantly refilling back up to low life no matter what, along with the recoup. So you could potentially drop this node, but this made it really comfortable to drop the life flask. Never really an issue. So yeah, I've got some extra nodes here. There's some pretty good ones, mostly martial prowess to help with accuracy, but may rework this in a bit. did end up grabbing the extra endurance charge. So that's the main thing. I switched to Awakened Vicious Projectiles, which dropping the projectile speed from faster projectiles, but this is 60% more damage, 10% less attack speed. Pretty strong. So that's really it. Just wanted to kind of show off the build. Just again, hit level 99 in a few hours from this. Really comfortable content with this kind of build. I still don't know how it stacks up against the attribute stackers. It probably won't scale as high as them. And given that we have a pretty high threshold to get into the build with Squire, it may not be worth the investment to do this build over a stat stacker. But I've been having fun with all the Lightpoacher builds this league, so yeah. That's it for me.